Hi guys, this is Dr. Khan. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today I am going to be talking to you about how to not let labels control us. What do I mean by labels? I'm talking about mothers, fathers, anyone in a uniform, judges, police officers, spouses, and how not for them to take advantage of us. Now, what do I mean by that? Have you noticed when you are in front of a police officer or a judge, sometimes you just don't know, you just don't question them robotically, you just kind of adhere to what they want. Some in such a robotic state, why does that happen? Okay, or maybe somebody elderly in your family, like a grandmother, and even if they're wrong, you're taught that you can't correct them, you can't speak up or say anything to them, just take it. And why does that happen? Okay, so firstly, I'm going to talk about the programming that occurred. I'm going to talk about the reality, and then lastly, I'm going to talk about the solution. Okay, so let's talk about the programming. At a very, very, very young age, we've all been programmed. We've programmed to crave, we've programmed to desire things, we've programmed to have attachments, and a feeling of not feeling good enough. Think about consumerism. Society has taught us to look outside of ourselves for validation, to desire things, to crave things. That's how consumerism works. You know that. And then there's the attachment aspect with family life and feelings, this idealistic way of thinking. And then there's that attachment. How did that even happen? Okay, so let's talk about attachments, for instance. You are taught that, mothers, fathers, spouses, and we're taught that they have this idealistic way of being. So we're taught that should have certain expectations from them. Like Mother's Day is celebrated and Father's Day is celebrated and anniversaries. So society teaches us how each label should be and how they should act. In reality, we know that's not the case. We don't have the perfect mother. We don't have the perfect father or the perfect spouse. And everything takes work. Particularly, we're learned to just not even ask questions when it comes to authority figures, right? We're taught by society that, you know what? Somebody has a label, somebody has some type of label, some type of title, don't question them. So particularly with labels, we are just taught to obey. Just obey, do not even question. So two things are going on. We're taught to just obey, right? And we have an idealistic expectation of them. And then on top of that, we expect because we give them so much respect, in return, they should listen to us. So we have like these levels, these layers. Okay, so now let's talk about the reality. The reality is that labels can only give us so much. Labels can only give us so much. At the end of the day, they are human. Behind the label, behind the mother label, the father label, the police officer label, they are human just like us. So they can only give us so much. The reality is also that we shouldn't have idealistic expectations of them. Because again, why? They're human. Also, you want to make sure that sometimes they won't listen to us. And it is what it is. Just because you're giving and you're respecting them, that doesn't mean that they're going to always be right, that they're always going to listen to you, or they're going to do what you want them to do. That's just the reality of it. Okay? So no idealistic thinking with when you come across a person with some type of label, right? Remembering they're human. And then remembering that they won't always agree with you and do what you want them to do. They will only give you so much. That's the reality. Now, what's the solution? Okay. The solution is, remember, we've been programmed to crave, desire, and have attachments. Okay? Number 3, remember that there's always a human behind the label. So bring them back down from high up there. They are human just like us. Moving on. You want to remember that you can ask them and say what your preference is, but that's it, and move on. They don't have to listen to you. So let's say you have a spouse and you want him to do something, or you want him to correct some type of behavior in him, and he keeps doing it over and over. The only thing you can do is say your preference and move on. Remember, society has taught us to have cravings and have desires. Have it the way have this desire to change this person, or, oh, I'll listen to you. But again, you have to remember that your only job is to say your preference and move on. Okay? Lastly, and this is very important, extremely important, you want to remember that just because a person has a label, do not let them cross lines. Just because a person has a type of a label in your life, do not let them cross lines. Do not let them disturb your inner peace. Do not let them break your spirit. Do not let them break your children's spirit. Do not let them disrespect your home. That's what you want to remember with labels. So, hope this has helped you. Take care and talk to you soon.